We tested 5 different alternative flours. We are going to be testing out 5 different alternative flours today. I have a lot of people asking me about gluten-free flours, alternative flours. Can I substitute this? Can I substitute that? We're not going to be looking so much for taste, but we're going to be looking for texture, because obviously you can season your food however you want to season it for the actual taste of it. We want to see the texture. What's going to crispy up? What's going to be light? What's going to be dark? What's going to fall off? What is going to fail, okay? In the end, I'll do a taste test and I'll let you all know what tastes the best. I'm going to put the exact same seasoning on all of it. We're going to be frying some chicken breast. The flours that we're going to be using, I have some almond flour. I have some coconut flour. This is tapioca flour. I have some chickpea. I have some chickpea flour here. And this is cassava flour, which is actually yucca root. Okay, so these are the 5 flours that we're going to be using. I'm not going to use all-purpose. I'm not going to use self-rising. If these flours are more along the lines of all-purpose flour, so if you need to have it rise or something, you will have to add some type of rising agent to it. We're not baking though today. We're going to fry because I like fried chicken, okay? All right, let me clear this off and get the chicken cut up. Okay, so we have them cut. I have 2 strips. They are not all necessarily the same size, but I have 2 strips for each flour. So I have a set of 5, and we are going to just be using my Pam's Prep all-purpose seasoning. If you don't have it, I will link it at the end, and it'll also be in the view products. This way, everything will be seasoned exactly the same. Just want to kind of massage that in a little bit on each piece. Flip it over, and we're going to do the other side as well. Again, you can use any seasoning that you like that you have on hand. Okay, so, and I will show this to you. This is chickpea, tapioca, cassava, coconut, and almond. Okay, so now that we have it labeled, we can put each one of our flours right by it. I'm not going to put any additional seasoning in the flour. You can if this is what you're actually cooking at the time, but for me right now, we just want to see what it's going to come out for the texture. Again, I'm not looking at the taste. And I don't need a ton because I only have 2 small strips for each one. Okay, that is the chickpea flour. Tapioca flour. Okay, this is the cassava flour. Coconut flour. This smells the best, honestly, the coconut flour does. And our almond flour. I am heating my oil up, and I am using, for this experiment, I am using macadamia nut oil. You can use whatever oil you want, but macadamia nut oil is one of the very healthiest oils in the world. It has a ton of health benefits and it's my favorite. This is Strength Genesis macadamia nut oil that I am using for this test. Okay, it's already in here. It's heating up right now. I have it on medium, which is about 5 for my stove. And once we get the chicken in there, then we'll turn it down just a little bit because these alternative flours tend to brown faster. So let's wait for our skillet to heat up and we'll be back. And just so that we can keep everything straight while we heat our oil up, I also made these little labels so that when I take it out of the skillet and it is resting, I'll know which one is which. I just wrote the names on here, nothing fancy. And because the flour, these alternative flours, they brown really, really quick. Like I said, I have my temperature on 5, but we need it to come up to a certain temperature in order to fry it crispy, and then we need to drop the temperature down. I'm going to come up to right at about 300, and as soon as it gets there, I'm going to drop my temperature down because I am using an electric stove, and although I cut the heat won't cut. Now, if you're using a gas stove, you're golden, because as soon as you drop that heat, it's going to start to drop. So we are just about there. I'm going to wait till we get to right at 300. We're at about 250 right now. So I'm going to start off with the chickpea flour first, since it's up here at the top. And we're just going to get it floured just like that. We're going to do each piece like that. Let it hang over here to the side and do another piece. Let's check our temp one more time. Okay, we're about 285, 290, so I think we're pretty much good to go here. Let me make sure I get this all coated up really well. And again, we're starting off with the chickpea flour. And I'm going to do something else that I know works with regular flour. For one of these pieces, I'm going to dip it in cold water before we put it in the actual skillet. Cold water. This cold water should make it crisp up a little bit more. Don't want to get that too close to the heat because it is glass. Okay, so we're going to go ahead, shake off any excess just like you would anything else. We're going to drop this on down in here. This piece I'm going to dip in this cold water. Shake it off. Coat it again and fry. Now I'm going to drop my temp down some. And while that's frying, I'm going to go ahead and get my next ones done in the tapioca flour. Okay, let's give this a turn. Looking pretty good. That one that I dipped in the water looks crispier already. Okay, this is chickpea flour, and this is the one that I dipped in water. Look at, it's nice and crispy. Look at that. Look at that. Okay, we're going to sit that there. And then this is the other one that I did not dip in water. And it's okay, but the one that I dipped in water is actually crispier than this one. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Now we have tapioca flour. Again, make sure you shake off any excess. It's this one and this one, dipping in water. Once you dip it in water, I don't know if I did that on the last one or not, or showed you, dip it back in your alternative flour. before you put it in the hot oil. Doesn't need to be a lot. And put it on in. Okay. Tapioca did pretty good. Again, the one without the water seems to be a little darker on both. And the one with dunking in the water is light, kind of airy and crispy. Okay, so we have chickpea flour and tapioca done. Okay, this is the cassava. One without the water. And the one we're putting in the water. And remember, once you put it in the water, put it back in the flour again. Okay, cassava coming out. Cassava almost looks even as far as the water versus the cassava looks pretty even there. Okay. Next up is our coconut flour. Okay, coconut flour coming out. And it seems to be the darkest of all, but it still looks good. It still looks good. Leave that piece in there just another minute. Okay. Our last coconut one, and now we have almonds. Okay, turning the almond flour over. Okay, our almond should be done. And you can see how that looks. It's a little on the darker side as well. We are all done and they look amazing. Oh my goodness. We tested 5 different alternative flours. And now it's time for us to do our taste test. Let's see which one tastes the best. Okay, if you are new to the channel, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me today here in my kitchen. Take a second and subscribe to the channel. Turn on the notification bell and make sure it's turned to all so you won't miss anything. Okay, I am just going to break off a piece of each one and taste it. I only used my Pam's all-purpose prep seasoning, and that link is at the end of the video as well as down in the description. So flavor-wise, they should all have the same flavor, but the flours are different. The flours have a different texture. The flours have a different taste. And as you saw up close, they looked a little bit different. Just visually right here, you know, we eat with our eyes first. I would go for the one that was in water, either in chickpea flour or cassava flour. Third would be tapioca flour. Fourth would be coconut flour. And fifth would be almond flour. Right now, the almond flour and the coconut flour is not necessarily appealing to my eye. Okay, so I'm gonna say what I think is the best for last, which will be chickpea. And I'm gonna start off with what I think is number 5, and that's going to be the almond flour. So I'm just gonna break off a small piece here. It's okay. It's a kind of a muddled, gritty texture. It's more gritty for whatever reason. It's a little bit more gritty texture. So next I'm going to go to the coconut and taste it. Again, that just like the almond flour, the coconut flour, which is number 4 on my list, has kind of a gritty texture to it. It's not crunchy, it's not crispy, it's not anything. Now, all of them, to me, in appearance, if you've ever had KFC's original chicken, it's kind of like that fried chicken as far as the texture is concerned. So let's move on to the tapioca. And on the tapioca, I'm going to actually try the one that was in water. And as I break it off, there is a little crispy crunch to it. If this was a car race, I think tapioca just pushed his way to the front of the race. Crispy. The texture tastes like regular flour. The texture feels like regular flour. That was delicious. Now, because that was so good, that was the one I had in water. I'm gonna try the one not in water with the tapioca flour. It's not as crispy as the one in water, but it doesn't have that gritty texture. It's good. Tapioca flour, which is this one. It's also known as tapioca starch. It's gluten-free, grain-free, and it says on here that it's great for soup, sauces, fillings, and perfect for baking. And most of these bags say something similar to that, but they don't mention actually frying or cooking, and that's why I fried today. So, tapioca flour. So far, we have 2 more. Moving on to cassava. Now, I'm going to try the fried, they're all fried. I'm going to try the cassava flour that was in water first. Okay, it's good. However, the cassava flour, so far, I'm gonna try the one that was not in water. As far as the texture, it's still very soft. No crisp at all. Very soft texture, but I can taste it. It has a flavor. Where is it? Here it is. It has a flavor. And it says excellent baking substitute for gluten-free treats. And it's from yucca root. That's what this is made from. Cassava flour. I don't like the taste of it. It's a bitter kind of taste to me. I am going to try the one that was not in water. Same thing. Actually, the one that cassava flour that's not in water, the texture was actually better. It was more firm, a little bit more crispy than the one that was in water. However, I don't like the bitter taste of the cassava flour. Don't use that, y'all. Now, I'm gonna try chickpea. I'm going for the chickpea that has, that's not in water first. I had to think about that, y'all. I had a senior moment. I'm like, what am I doing? Okay, this is the piece that's not been in water. It is absolutely delicious, and it has a flavor too. But it tastes kind of like it's roasted or cooked in the oven. That's the one that does not have the water on it. So let me try the one with the water. Yeah, with the water. Okay, we have a winner. We have winners. Number 10, the worst. I would not ever try this again. I would not suggest you try it, but you can if you want to, because your taste buds is different from mine, okay? You might say, what's she talking about? This is delicious. Okay, but not to me. Cassava. This one goes away. Yuck. The flavor of that, the texture and the flavor, but the flavor is horrible to me. Next up, almond. Okay, it's gritty, kind of tastes like something's in it. It's just gritty. I don't like it. Don't like it. No flavor. It's just bad texture. Almond. After almond, a decent flavor, decent taste, and not really much of a flavor, but again, gritty. Coconut, out. Epic fail. Cassava failed royally, okay? Almond got a D on the test, and coconut got a D on the test. So, okay, I'll put it like this. Cassava got an F, almond got a D, and coconut flour got a C. So listen, who got the A and the B? It's between the tapioca and the chickpea. So these actually run neck to neck. I would probably go with the tapioca. I love the flavor of chickpea. Now I could be very biased on this because I love chickpeas, period. But I love the flavor of the chickpea, and it was a little crispy. But the reason I have chosen to tapioca flour gets the A. It is my #1 pick if you want to fry anything in it. And it, like I said, it says gluten-free, grain-free, great for thickening soup, sauces, fillings, and for baking. And now we know it's excellent for frying. This is the crispiest, okay? But tapioca flour is also a good substitute for cornstarch. So I imagine that's why it has the crispiness. Now, if you want a slightly crispy, but you want a better flavor, chickpea all the way. It says on here it's milled from creamy, delicious garbanzo beans, and it's good, high in fiber. It says it has a little sweet, rich flavor, and I can kind of taste that in there. And you can create it for baked goods, vegan scrambles, to thicken soup, sauces, gravies, and now we know we can fry with it too, okay? So, I love chickpea. I would probably use chickpea and tapioca together. That would be what I would do, because the tapioca is going to give me my crispiness and the chickpea is going to give me my flavor. Therefore, these both get an A and there is no B. This was was fun. I enjoyed this. If you guys want me to test this, maybe baking something, the same flours, because I got them, I ain't buying no more. Y'all want to send me some, I'll use them. Otherwise, I ain't buying no more, okay? Because I don't use alternative flours that much. As you see, I have all of them. As you see, some of them are more empty than others. I do use them occasionally, depending on what I'm doing, but not on the regular. But if y'all want me to test some, I will buy some and I will test it for you. Leave me some comments and let me know. Can't promise you nothing, but I'll see what I can do. I enjoyed this and I hope you all did too. Don't forget to subscribe. Check out my other channels, my gardening channel at The Scaredy Cat Gardener, and also my very newest channel, Pam's POV, where you'll get other tips, tricks, hacks, testing of things as well that are not related to food and not related to gardening. Okay. I am going to make me a sandwich with some of this chicken. So I will see you all next time. The good Lord willing and the creek don't rise. Bye-bye.